Let's do it, shall we? Game straight into it. Oh wow, we are in 2018. What the fuck? Okay. July 2018. Oh, and we have a kid now. And we moved into a big place. Big house. There's fucking 2 floors and everything. Well, time to start unpacking. Pictures of Katie's. A dancing picture. A windmill. A shoe. Yo, is that Sweden? Oh, Swedish flag. Is that a Danish item in here too? Yeah, that's totally a Danish item right there. Eiffel Tower. An umbrella. Put that on the floor. Hey, there it is. I was like, surely we have the umbrella basket thing. No, I can't move that whole thing. More shoes. Oh my god. Really? Man. Really? Are you serious right now? There is just one pair of shoes too many. That's gonna look weird because now they're gonna have to sit here. I mean, I guess we could do like this. Makes more sense, I guess. This is a towel or a blanket? A towel. Yo, we're gonna turn on the lamp. Park. Wait, shit, where's the kitchen?
I love refrigerators.
Perfect. Me too, sir. He works today. He can sell us refrigerators today. Oh my god, it's this book.
Hi, I'm Carl. We're going to
Hi,
talk
Carl.
about how to properly kick open a door, right? But you want to get your foot as close to the center right there. Pick your site where you want to put your foot. Kick
And then
that
there's
puppy
another
open.
door.
Piece of cake.
Kick that puppy open. Opens a door to reveal another door. That door visitor Joe. What kind of twisted horror house is this? Is this a Blu-ray? Oh my god, why so many books? It's a movie. It's a Nintendo DS. That's a DS game. That's Kirby. That's a GameCube controller. No Blu-ray. A GameCube game. That's a book. Godzilla. A board game. Oh, this is a Wii game. What the fuck? What kind of console is this? Nothing but doors. Nothing but doors. Haunted house. Just full of doors. That PlayStation kettle. It's only PlayStation kettle. Oh, you know, you figure shit gets so hot, you might as well boil water while we're at it, you know? In case you want a cup of tea. Mid-gaming session. Might as well. These are the movies. I don't know. There's so many shelves. I don't know where to put what. I can't decide where to put the book, where to put the movie, where to put the video games. I'll put the books over here. GameCube game. All the Blu-rays. The exclusive PlayStation kettle. Wait, this person doesn't have a Vita. They had a PS2 at some point, but then they sold the PS2 to get an Xbox 360. They also had a GameCube, but they sold that GameCube to get a Wii, I think, yeah. And now we're in 2018. So who knows? Maybe they have a PS4 now. Really? It has the lay down here? Oh. And you can only stack 2? Oh wow. Does that say nuclear narwhals? What an interesting board game. And this is the Wii game. You need to get more bookshelves. Oh wait, those are the GameCube controller. More bookshelves. I feel like we talked about that at some point. What was that again? You found the bookshelf or something, but then it was just, I don't know, there's something weird about it. It was like overpriced or something. But it was just strange. I feel like that's a long time ago though. All the bookshelves is so shitty. Really? What happened? Oh. But what? Like, alright, here's a bookshelf for you. You can fit one little magazine on it, and that's it. Want to put books on the bookshelves? All shelves are designed to hold books on the bookshelves. What do you think this is, man? Books on the bookshelves? Get with the times, old man. This isn't the 1800 anymore. Can't even fit all 3DS games, huh? 1,000 bucks just for a decent bookshelf. Holy shit. Yeah, that seems a little too much. So yeah, the current bookshelf, they just can't. They'll just like not sturdy enough. They're not built to hold books. They just like collapse if you put too many books on it. Well, there is no in between. Either super expensive or super cheap, and then yeah, you can't put everything on it. Amazing. Hey, that's the Wii. They don't make bookshelves like they used to. What is this ancient device? VCR player. A pillow. A snake. A cane. Another Nintendo DS game. A zombie head. A GameCube game. What's that creepy bash if you need help? It's like, hey man, hey. Peeks up. Takes from the corner of the screen like, hey man, you need help? Need help finding a shelf? I'm right here, man, if you need it. Oh wow, you can hit the little pieces. Rattle around, that's cool. Yeah, that's probably the go-to. Good old IKEA. Can't go wrong with IKEA. The Bab has to be personally delivering it. I mean, yeah, if it's like, I don't know, double the price of the bookshelf, then yeah. Then the Bab better be personally delivering it to your doorstep. And setting the bookshelf up too, in your living room. What the fuck was a Wii game? What is this? A game or a book? I think it's a book. Oh my god, they got so many video games. Board game. Another board game. A Blu-ray. A blanket. Another Blu-ray. Jaws. Hashtag an average day in Russia. Perhaps putting together a bookshelf in your living room. Yeah, you know, just basic, average stuff. You come home from a day's work, and then yeah, you just walk into your living room and you see the Bab putting together your bookshelf or a couch, just like he ordered it. Seems good, man. Yeah, you just see Cheeseburger chilling. Putting together a bookshelf. Sitting there with a hammer and everything. Oh my god. Pick up the Wii game. I guess we could put, unless there's, hopefully these are the last games. Put the DS games here. Perfect. Why can't I put these on top of them? I guess we could just put these here. They are about to watch Jaws and whatever this movie is. can I not make it face towards the couch? What is this? I shouldn't spend too much time just on this living room. Because we got this, and then we got an entire different floor too. That's a lot to unpack here. Get it? Lot to unpack. And the game's called Unpacking. Ha ha. What a comedian. What a jokester. The Wii is right in front of the TV. Replacement for the Wii. What do I do with the watering can? Put it next to the lamp. What could go wrong? Ah, put it here. Shit. The Wii doesn't fit there. Where can I put the Wii? You just put it right dead center of the TV. The Wii is blocking the TV. I mean, I guess you could put it like that sideways, whatever. Okay. To the kitchen. Loads of boxes. That's the magnet. We still have the koala. What? Why is the bus here? Can I put that in the living room? Is that okay? I hope so. Please don't yell at me, game, for putting the bus in the living room. A globe. What? I don't think the globe goes to the kitchen. What is in here? What the fuck is this? I think it's an advanced rice maker. Coffee. Whatever, I think this is a blender. What is this? I still don't know what this fish device is. It's made out of metal too. What is this? I have no idea what this is. Toilet paper. Yeah, what could go wrong? Let's just put the paper on top of the stove here. What could go wrong? It's fine. Totally not a fire hazard or anything. It's okay. I got another one. Okay, I'll remove the paper from the stove. Why is it like that? That green one. Oh my god. A massive trash can. Maybe I should start putting this way somewhere before I get overwhelmed. Now that I have the drawers. Nope. Pick up this. I guess we put some stuff here. Put the strange looking fish here. All the spices. Oh fuck. Another pot. Oh no. Are we gonna have this pot dilemma again? Can I put it? Can I put it on top of the fridge? Yes. That's always where I store my pots and pans. On top of the fridge. Fuck, I don't know where to put this. Oh my god, and there's another one. It's probably gonna be another one. Well, shit. Move the fish. Oh, it's a 0. Oh, an O. What? 1 equals poop. Makes sense. Wait, wow, I actually got a trophy for that? Brilliantly solved. 2 + 1 equals poop. Wait, what is the thing for that? Wrote an equation with fridge magnets. Nice. They're not facing the same way. Where are the forks? What the fuck? Oh, it's another bottle. Anti-hero. Salt. There are the forks. Oh my god, we got more magnets. We put them on the side too, sure. Oh, and now it's this strange contraption. The fuck is that? Oh, it's to grab past them and stuff. To grab the salad. Why does this have to lay down? Why can't it stand up? It's flammable, so I'm sure putting it above the stove is a good idea. Hey, there it is. Oh fuck, there's 3 of them? Oh no, dude. You can only fit 2. Just put it in the oven already. Ah, sweet. So I got room there. Is that a place to hang these? No. I guess they'll have to go here. A little bit that. Shit, why did we do this one last? I don't know. Oh god, we still have a microwave. Where am I gonna put all these plates? I guess we could... No, what can we do actually? Oh, it fits. Nice. Having the microwave on top of the fridge, that's normal, right? Right? I don't think so, because it's so high. You don't want to put your microwave that high. I guess we're gonna have to put all this stuff down here. Ah. Wait, no, it doesn't even... Really? The egg is taking up the space. There we go. Oh, they fit here. Perfect. Although actually, I would rather want them down here. I don't think this belongs here. It's a whale. Really? I can't make room for this thing? Ugh, okay, sure. You win. I'll let you leave it up here then. Oh. Wait, no, this thing doesn't even fit down here. Seems a good man. What is this? The dining room? Dinner room? Eat room? People fat room? Yo, the D&D books. That's not a D&D book. There's the other whale. Salt. How did the salt get in here? And the pepper. Is that a baby book? That's the same height as the other book. It bothers me. Are these supposed to be here? These wine glasses? I don't think so. Then again, I don't know where I would put them in the kitchen. The fuck? Man, all these books are all sorts of different sizes and shapes. It's bothering me. It looks so strange. It's a strange looking staircase. Yo, we can put it here? Hell yeah. Should I put this on the side of the fridge? Oh no. An autographed poster. Hold on, I'll put that for now. Tissues. Toaster. But there's no more room in this goddamn kitchen. Kitchen is packed. I guess there. Oh, I could probably reorganize this better, but oh well. We'll roll with that for now. Right, now let's fix this table. Shit. What a comfy pillow, her laptop. Oh, what? You can't stack those? What is this? Shit. This plan is out of place. Is the laptop good here? I guess we're having laptops for dinner. Office. Yeah, but it's next to the poster? Oh, hell yeah. Which? Diploma. A book. All books. All the books. The Black Book of Death, Monk W. Oh no, it's this thing. I still don't know what this is. Slam. Piggy. Oh, we're gonna put this in the window. Put that in the window. Yeah. No, I can't put that in the window. My books. Chicken. A chicken house. What the hell is this? I think it's an armrest thing. Like that. Slam. Got paper. Are we gonna have that giant printer again? staples. Oh shit. I didn't even see the monitor. Let me go for that. Well, then we're probably gonna have a keyboard too, right? A clock. Well, really doesn't fit above the window? What a scam. The D&D dice. And the D&D figure. Why do we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Why do we have 7 of the same book? 8. I guess that must be one hell of a good book. Oh, it's our book. We wrote the book. Makes sense. PC with that 4090 in it. Drawing tablet. Oh, jeez. Oh, that ball is blocking. Oh, router. The router in the trash can. And we still got the little guitar stand. A lava lamp. That works. Wait, we never found a painting for this. At least in the previous house. And there was no printer. At least not yet. Right, we cool? I think we cool. But now with this room, what's next? The bathroom? What? What's the printer be inside here? Wouldn't surprise me. Somehow the printer made it inside the bathroom box. So this is a tiny bathroom. Compared to the other ones we've been in. What the hell is this? Man, every time I say that now, I think of the Dante thing effect. But what the hell is this? Is this like a smelling thing? Do like the room smell nice? I don't know. Again, 2. This bathroom is omega tiny. What, is this the door? I think there is another bathroom, right? No, that's the only one. Wow. What? You know, there's no space for anything in here. And why do I put this contraption? Right on the toilet. Yeah, it's supposed to do like that. Are we done with this floor? Yeah. Baby room. A bee. Be yourself. Yo, it makes noise when you shake it. I'm pretty sure that's the noise that normally would have came out of the controller if we had that enabled. Who's the real baby here now? Okay, well, we would get distracted by the baby bowl. I put it inside the baby box. What is this? A bird? Where's this supposed to go? Yo, wait, what the fuck? That's the notification from yesterday! Hey.
En bænk for Halloween, lul.
Halloween, I got that. Yeah, but that is the notification that was a day late. Appreciate the prime. Appreciate the prime, buddy shot once again, Junior. Well, there you go. Yesterday it was a prime sub for no DVD, and well, I guess another today another prime sub for no DVD, and well, yeah, no DVD again today. Wait, what the fuck? You're actually being Katie for Halloween? You got the shoes and the shirt. Wait, what the fuck? You're gonna wear you're gonna wear that full-on suit and everything? God damn. Gonna be looking real nice and fancy. Yo, another ball. Wait, where did I put the other one? You're gonna wear it when you stream Yakuza 2 Pog. Fully immersed into it. Full on Yakuza immersion. I was gonna ask, like, are you gonna go out and go trick or treating with it? And go around with a bicycle too and everything? Go around threatening people with a bicycle? Just like in the game? Knock them out with the bike? If they don't give you candy? A night. Why do I put this? There's like no tape within here. Oh, I guess we got this, yeah. Oh my god, the baby's gonna have the piggy. Nice. And the taiko. Yeah, that'd be perfect if you go trick-or-treating like that. Bring a bike with you and just throw it at people if they don't give you candy. Either way, yeah, that's gonna be great. Can't wait to see that. An amazing cosplay. Oh, you're the other way around. You're gonna be the one passing out all the candy. Nice. Yo, this one makes noise too. Where do you put the baby toys? I guess I can put it in here, but right now we're just emptying all the boxes. Yeah, I mean, you gotta go for it. You gotta do it. you gotta go all in on it. You gotta go all in on the cosplay. Get the beard as well. Can I put stuff inside of this? No. Yeah, I feel like I should switch this around. You gotta go all in. Oh my god, what is this? There isn't enough room for everything. Another one. And just empty all the boxes so we have some space to put stuff. You can't wait, I mean, if you're gonna have that on while you're streaming Yakuza 2, I can't wait to see it. It's gonna look good. What the fuck? Peggy. A duck. Is that two babies? A bunny. There's no room for the child in here now. It's full of toys now. How many beanies does this child need? Okay, are we done? Oh yeah, now he's at organizing this room. It surely looks like a kid's room, fucking toys and shit all over the place. Oh yeah, that'll be perfect. Start your Yakuza 3 playthrough once you get the full-on outfit. That'll be a perfect way to start it. That'll be a perfect way to start it. Well, when are you gonna get to Yakuza 3? Is that when you finish Lust Judgment? So what's this game you're playing here? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's very straightforward. Game's called Unpacking, and well, we're unpacking boxes. Yeah, well, unpacking boxes, putting it up in the house. There's a bit of a storyline going on too. Like, yeah, right now we're in the year July 2018. If we recently got married, I think, or something in the game, and now we have a child, as you can see, so we're decorating the kids' room and unpacking all the boxes. It's really nice. It's really nice, chill little game. It's really cool. Like, yeah, these are the rooms we've already unpacked stuff into right here. Wait, where did I put the other computer? Alright, I moved that into the other room. Oh, and I wanted to move these two, because they're not supposed to be here, I think. It's sort of a puzzle game too, because yeah, once you're done unpacking all the boxes, in the end of the game, like it tells you what items that you misplaced, and then you have to like try and figure out where they do like belong to in order to advance the game slash story. It's pretty cool. I highly recommend it. It is a great, fun, chill, relaxing game. And it also has a plat, if you're wondering about that. And it has Wii. A Wii. And Jaws. The only Blu-ray that I recognize. Oh yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Still pretty cool. Plat. Damn right. Isn't that a quick way to see that how many I have? It has 26 and we're already halfway. Right, I was trying to organize this shit show of a kid's room. Like I said, it's true, it looks like a kid's room. Right, so how about we put all the clothes in here? Please tell me this fits. Doesn't. Shit. But you already finished the Lost Judgment DLC? What the fuck? Wait, how? Wait? That was fucking fast. Is it really that short, or are you just quick? Oh, wait, yeah, I forget. We have these shelves up here. Can I put the books here? Yeah, perfect. You're just a grinder. Yeah, you don't say, because holy fuck. Man finished Lost Judgment before I knew it, and he's already on the DLC, and then it's already done. 10 hours? That's still pretty long. Still, goddamn. How many chapters did that one have? Oh, wait, I don't... Why would you put the football up there? Isn't the child supposed to play with the football? I guess I could put the tiny balls up here. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to go here. Now we just put these other teddy bears. What did we do with the chicken? Where's the chicken plushie? I guess we sold that. Oh my god, tiger. There we go. The rabbit is gonna creepily stare at the child. Ah, only 4 chapters? Yeah, okay, that is pretty short then. I thought it was gonna have like, I don't know, 10 or something. Wait, there isn't enough room for everything. There we go. And now I get to solve this. Now I get to be the child again. It's puzzle time. 5-hit time. What the hell? That is so specific. I can't fit it in there. I can't. Don't put it on top of it. No. The length of a Resident Evil game. Oh. But what you're saying is I might actually be able to finish it in one day. That's not too bad. Unless it has side quests, then we're kind of fucked. You know me. Love me some good side quests. I hope there's a reward for doing this. Otherwise it's okay. That was no reward for solving it, but hey, at least it looks good now. Kind of ruined the experience for the child, though. I already solved it for him. And then I guess we put these here. And then the football can chill there. Yeah, okay. Wait, no, we still have this. What is this? The child is supposed to bite this, I think, right? Or something. I don't know what this is for. Okay, just the side quest? Okay. Yeah, then it's probably gonna take me longer to do. Oh, you didn't even unlock all the mini games for the school. Oh shit. Hey, I mean that's understandable, cause at some point all those school stories, they do get extremely overwhelming. Just like one after another. Oh, there's the print that I was looking for. Yes, you go in here. Now, where do I put the globe? Put the globe in the kids' room. Put the globe on the toilet. You gotta have some entertainment while you're on the toilet, you know? You spin the globe while you're here. The long doggo. Long doggo pillow. Oh, it's the chicken I was talking about. We still have it. Kinda overwhelming for you. I had the school stories. Yeah, me too. I think that might also be why we, you know, took a break from it. Because holy shit. It's like you want to do the school stories, but like, oh my god, it's just overwhelming when it's one after another. And at the same point, you also, at the same time, you also just want to do the main story. Does this belong here? I don't think so. There's some collectibles that let you unlock more skills. Oh, what? Yeah, and less judgment? Yeah, there are those like squirrels you can find. I forget what it is that they give you. Side quest is for later, yeah. Because that can also get overwhelming. There's no room for the globe. Well, how many lamps do you need? Oh, it's this candle thing. Wait, I think the squirrels in Lost Judgment, they like give you something once you get them all. I get rid of this though. A horsey. Maurice. A pen. What the? Wait, put the two plants next to each other. There we go. Headphones. Why is the walkie-talkie a thing? And what is this? I still don't know what this is either. I just put this in the window last time. I don't know what it is. Is that for monitor? Not a for monitor because you can't put it on the wall. god, there's so many chickens now. Another walkie. The water tank. Yo, this one's got shades on. It's the cool chicken. I still gotta do the squirrels. Do you remember what you get from the squirrels? I don't remember. Okay, hold on. They're having a meeting. Chicken meeting. What am I gonna do with this? That doesn't fit under the bed. That fits under here. You can stack them? Oh. You have no idea. It's just items. Oh, okay. Yeah, it might just have been items. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember what the squirrels they give you. They give you a little bit of EXP. I remember that. I put the globe in here. Oh, there you go. It's a bigger bathroom. Hang the skirt up. There we go. Wait, shouldn't it be like down here instead then? Makes more sense. Treasure chest. Aha. You can't hang that here. Really? Yeah. So the reason why we're not hanging it yet and just spamming it out here is because I want to empty all the boxes and then we can decide what we want to hang on the hangers. Otherwise it just becomes a mess. And that from the other levels. Can I hang that? No. I can't hang all the fancy stuff. What the hell is this? I kinda wish it told you what some of the items... cause I don't know what the fuck this is. Is this candy? Some really hard sounding candy. Oh my god, how many hangers do you have? Holy shit. Can I hang that? Wait, I think I can hang it down here. Hold on. Maybe? Hey! Mastermind. Wait. There you go. Hang all the fancy stuff down here. All the fancy dresses. I'm running out of room. I'm running out of room and I still have 1,000,000 boxes left. that goes with that. I just have a backpack. Another backpack. Oh god. Shit. Okay, well maybe we should start hanging some stuff. If we're running out of space here. Put the cool shirts up. I can't hang the sweater, really. Really? Man, I can't even close the drawer because of the box. Oh, whatever, it's fine. We got more space now. Fuck, what is this? This is not a t-shirt or anything. This is a fucking mirror. I don't have space for this. And I'm almost out of space to hang hangers onto. What did this ask? Put these next to each other. Another hanger. Oh my god. Oh, still got space. All out of space on the top one. Oh my god, they just won't stop coming. The fucking hangers. Jesus Christ. Okay, there you go. I can close this now. Oh, and open everything else apparently. Where did they put the underwear? Oh, in here. God damn it. Put the luggage back. Put you over here so you're out of the way. Oh, I think this box is full of needles. That's what it is. Right, we're ready to continue. This full? It is. What the fuck? Those are some bright pants. Oh my god, I don't have a hanger to hang this on? How is that even possible? I can't hang this, can I? No, I want to hang this though. another gigantic device. Device. Makes it sound like it does something. It's literally just a drawer. If you even have another skirt to hang. Oh, I guess it works with pants too, right? With the Omega Bright ones. Can I hang this? I can. Gotta have them next to each other. The larger triggers by OCD. We don't have this one anyway, so if we just put that there. Rainbow pants. Paul. Wait, didn't we have this one somewhere? Doesn't look like. What the fuck? You're bringing a book into the mix now? Where am I gonna fit a book in here? Perfume? Can you hang these? Oh, you can. What the I thought that was a microwave. Yes, of course. I too have a microwave. In my walk-in closet. Right next to my bedroom microwave. Wait, there's still a free hanger there. Hold on. I don't feel like that should be hanging, but oh well. Wait, can I change it to this? I don't think so. I can't. Perfect. Can I put this giant safe in the drawer? No. Okay, what do we got left there to deal with? Probably put all this stuff in here. Oh, not. Why does that not fit in the drawer? Put the book in here. The Book of Death. No, I think we used up all the drawers. All the drawers? What? And all the hangers. Oh wait, I said I wanted to hang this up, but shit. I want to hang is now. Shit. Remove that. That doesn't even work that though, because it's for pants. Oh my god. What a disaster. Oh, well then it gets the shelf, I guess. This is just pants. It's too big to fit in there. What is this? Pants? I don't know what is this. I can't tell what this is. I should put it next to that. Looks similar to it. What Oh wait, I still have this. Fixed. Perfect. We made it work. The chickens that are having a meeting. Take a picture of them. Perfect. I think we only have one room left. Yep. The gigantic bathroom. The hell is this? Nutella? Is that what this is? That's for some type of cream. I don't know. Throw it in the mirror. Same with this. I can't stack them. Oh, it's the thing for back pain. Well, that drawer used up. God, it takes up so much space, this thing. The melting stick. Or whatever it's called. Why is this here? The tilting tower pizza. Put it in the kid's room. I'm sure the kid will appreciate the tilting tower and pizza. Rubber ducky. The hell is this? The goodie bag. Pog. Put the goodie bag in here. What vitamins? Oh no, I can't stack it. Shit. Yeah, of course. Put the patches in the sink. What could possibly go wrong? That won't ruin them. Nah, it's fine. Tissues. Why do you have tissues in the bathroom? Tissues in the bathroom? That seems like a strange placement. Put them here. On the nightstand. I don't understand why you have a trash can in the bathroom, but okay. What the fuck was that? Is that the video game? It sounded like something vibrated. What happened? The fuck? That was weird. Ooh, candle boxy. I know, right? 2 streams in a row. What is happening? Are we slowly going back to normal schedule? This is a nice holder for the toilet paper. This was in the bathtub last time, so I guess we'll put it there again. Why is this in the bathroom? Hey, the med back. Man. Oh no, I don't have any room. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, what the fuck? That's a doll? That actually got me. Jump scared me. There is a hidden door. Well, that's tampons. Oh, this is probably supposed to go in here. There you go. I was about to say, what have we put in here? But oh well, there you go. It's all this stuff. What is this, pills? Pills for what? Oh, that's for the washing room too. Another one? Another one? Another one? Jeez, how many fucking towels do you need? Yeah, I know it's all misplaced. Calm down, I'll fix it. The patch in the sink. How is that misplaced? Is this misplaced? Because it belongs in here? No. No, probably because it wants me to put it down here, yeah. I guess we will then. Seems like a no, never mind. It doesn't like that. In that case, is this allowed up here? It is. This too? I could stack it? Oh wait, put the towels down here. Mastermind. What is this? Oh, we have another one, right? This one is massive though, isn't it? There we go. Is this allowed here? Why? What the fuck? Why do you put dirt on... Why do you have dirt in the bathroom, man? What are you doing? Did you really kill someone? Planning on burying anyone? Is this not allowed here? How is this not allowed here? This really has to be on the counter? Really now? Really now? Oh, wow, really? It was really omega simple after all. Yeah. Well, I guess I will put the dirt here, though I don't see why you would have dirt in the bathroom under the sink. Seems like a very old placement to me. And then this. This is like the laundry basket where you throw all your dirty laundry in. Doesn't that belong in the bathroom? Yeah, it just had to be next to that. Really? Why is this misplaced? Is it because it has to be out here? Yeah. Why is the book of death supposed to be not allowed to be in here? Can I just hide it back here? No. No YouTube uploads lately, Leo? Meeting? We must discuss this during the meeting, Leo. Where have your YouTube videos been lately? Yeah, they've been kinda off lately for the past, what, I don't know, 3 months or something? It's kinda because I ran out of space, and also because, I couldn't decide what to upload. Then I just ended up not uploading anything. But like, I ran out of space. I ran out of space to like download all the things. I know. Normally, a normal human would like delete it after downloading it. But you know, I just like to have it here because I just like to have it like as a backup on a hard drive, you know. Because I don't trust YouTube to have it there. In case, I don't know, it gets Omega corrupt or something, so. I like to have like a physical backup as like a hard drive. And then it also kind of became too much to keep track of. But I've slowly been getting back into it. Like I recently downloaded some of the Halloween wallets from last year. Yeah, it's sponsored by generic cloud storage provider. Oh my god. No, fuck. Fuck you, generic cloud storage provider. I don't trust your cloud. I'm sorry. I like it physically because I'm old school like a boomer. You trust YouTube, not Twitch. Understandable. Especially with how Twitch has been doing lately. Yeah, we actually got the kids room spot on. Really happy how it turned out too. See Judgment upload. Do I even have that up downloaded? Let me see. When is that from? Isn't that from like 2019? I don't think I have that downloaded. Well, what a perfect time for the music to run out. Yeah. This is 2019. I don't have anything downloaded from 2019. It's like the only year I don't have anything downloaded from 2019. But yeah, but like this week I've been downloading some of the Halloween horror games that we played last year. Plan on uploading those. Because those are fucking great. Every single horror game we played last year, it was fun. Even though I lost my mind with like 2 of them, it was great. It was a blast. Oh, shit, I forgot I left that on the ground. Yeah, like the Song of Horror game, it was great, even though I fucking went monk insane by the end of it. And, well, Tormented Soul, that's the game that really broke me. Tormented Soul is the game that broke me so badly last year that we just decided to do DVD instead for the rest of the month. Tormented Souls broke me so bad. They're just like, hey, you know what? I'm done with horror games. Let's just play DVD for the remainder of the month. I'm good, man. Why did it break you? It's because it had some... you know, I like me a good puzzle, but... No, it's not because it was scary, but there was like... Tormented Soul. They made it like... as a love letter to old school Resident Evil and horror games with fixed camera angles and all that. But it had fixed camera angles and really hardcore puzzles. And some of them were just way too fucking hardcore. Like one that really broke me is that you had to listen to a gramophone, right? It was playing music, and then the music that it was playing, you had to replay that yourself on the piano. And I was just like, no, I can't do that. Like, what the fuck? Like all the notes that was playing in the song and the piano, you had to replay those notes. Oh, not on the piano, on the gramophone. You had to replay those notes on the piano to complete the puzzle. And I was just, no, that's too much, man. That's too much. After all this shit I've already been through already, I just want it to be over. A skill issue. Yeah, man, I'm sorry. That is a skill issue. I'm sorry I don't know how to play. I don't know. I'm sorry that I don't know how music works and I don't know how to play piano. And they don't have any rhythm at all. Yeah, it was that puzzle and then multiple puzzles leading up to it and then just being stuck in the game and not knowing what to do. All of that just broke me in the end. And I was just like, oh, you know what? I'm done with horror games. Let's just play a DVD for the remainder of the month. Let's go. Why is this misplaced? That's the one that I remember the most. There was some, like I said, there was some other puzzles. Oh, yeah, like they were so cryptic, all the puzzles. And also in that song, a horror game. Oh my god, that last chapter. That was also just hard as hell. Because they were just so cryptic, all the puzzles. Towards the end of the game. Why is this toaster misplaced? Save you. Yeah, but you know me. I'm stubborn when it comes to that. I don't give up easily when it comes to puzzles. I want to try myself before I throw in the towel. But yeah, towards the end of all that, when I just wanted it to be over and everything, I threw in the towel. And then, if I remember correct, there was a line grid that helped out and gave a few hints with some of the puzzles. Cause God. They were rough, man. Like even with that puzzle in Song of Horror, like one of the last ones, even the devs, they admitted that it was like way too difficult. Even the devs admitted that they made the puzzle way too hard and way too cryptic. It goes up here, the toaster. So like, yeah, you know, it's not. That wasn't a skill issue. Even the devs admitted to it being hard and way too cryptic. It was just too much. And especially when, you know, I was just already broken, or like partially broken from previous puzzles. I just wanted it to be over in the end. But it was still a fun game. I still highly recommend it. Song of Horror, I still highly recommend that horror game. That's great. I'd recommend it. It's really good. And plus we had some amazing moments for that. I mean, I know I say that this is a chill, comfy game, but Song of Horror, that is honestly pretty chill and comfy too. That was honestly nice and relaxing, Song of Horror. Until, you know, we got towards the end. Oh, really? The Blu-rays are misplaced? The Jaws is misplaced. Can I put it here? Look at that. Wait, you have it on Steam? Wait, you have Song of Horror on Steam? Really? What room do I want to take a photo of? Really happy with how the baby room turned out. We're so looking forward to meeting you, our child. That was the last level. Unpacking. Now we get to unpack the credits.
The moving truck pulls up.
And jam out.
There's a knock on the door. Now all your stuff is here in boxes on the floor. You open up a box, there is so much to do. I open up my heart, this is now a home for two.
Wait, are these all my rooms? I think they are, yeah. That we made throughout the game.
Your houseplant brightens up the dreary
Look at all the chickens!
blanket keeps us warm.
Chickens again! And Pepper with his Nintendo DS.
Pull your favorite mug out of the packing foam. Stick magnets on the fridge and we make this house a home. You put our photo on the shelf. I smile to myself. You cut the tape with my Stanley knife and we unpack your life. We unpack your life.
Oh my god, they're here too, the chickens!
Slowly,
Everywhere.
our things combine. Your favorite
Best character in the whole
stuffed
game, the
toy
chicken.
right next
Hey,
to
there they are!
our prized possessions
You even got a
in
cameo on
prime
stream.
location on the bedroom shelf. I smile to
Encore. Chicken encore.
You cut the tape with my Stanley knife and we unpack our life. We unpack our life. I smile
Wonderful
to
community moderators.
myself.
Hey, and the piggy.
The tape with my Stanley knife and we unpack our life. We unpack our life. We unpack our life.
Leo. That's the name of our book. What a happy, wholesome ending. Clap. We literally ended on the last level last night. Oh wow. Yeah, I'm glad we finished it now though. Okay. 10 out of 10 game. Quality comfy game. I want more games like this. I want more unpacking style games. Nice and relaxing to play. Nice and chill.